This is Matt Rasamoto, producer of the Pep Talks podcast with Eddie Pepitone and Stephen Lawley. This is a phone call conversation between Eddie and I about the pivot of the new show. What you're going to hear is an example of what that new show may sound like. And it begins now.
Call is now being recorded.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Welcome to Pep Talks. So, what are we doing?
I ask you questions and stuff that I'm dealing with, and you give me sage advice, or we just talk about what we're going through and then try to figure out how it works, or do you want me to kind of, or do you want to sit on the couch and me kind of?
Whatever you think would be the most productive.
All right. We'll start talking about what we're going through, and we'll see where the position kind of falls.
Okay.
Tell me about your day and what's going on with you right now.
I just was on social media, and
I'm so sorry.
I have a love-hate with it. Like I want to kind of be a presence on social media and a voice on social media, being funny and also fighting the good fight politically. But then what happens to me is I get too wound up and my ego gets too involved. So I pull away from it. So I have this push and pull with social media. Like, I think it's a very good tool for me, but I get too wrapped up in it. And, as I'm saying, we need to have revolutionary comics, speaking the truth to power. What I'm really concerned with is like, oh, who's liking this? Or, you know what I mean? It's like I almost see what a hypocrite I am. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you're dealing with a captive audience, and I do want to make some points, but I have to be able to do it grounded and not being so like looking for validation, while claiming to be a revolutionary. So that's what's going on today, and I think, oh, I should just do a blackout on social media, but I don't think that's the answer for someone in the public eye,
You want to burn it all down, but you still want to be like, do you like me?
Yeah. I should actually come right out and say that. You know what I mean? And then I cover all my bases because I'm sure, you know what I mean? Because I'm sure a lot of people realize that. Like,
right.
A lot of smart people, I think, go, God, this guy is one of the trickiest egotists out there.
Yeah, you've got to learn how to straddle that razor blade while you slide down.
Yeah, it is a razor blade, So what happens is it stirs me up emotionally, and then I've got to unwind from it, And there's a pull to look. Like yesterday, I posted an article that was super scathing about Louis C.K.'s little appearance at the Comedy Cellar and how he didn't address his regressions and his horrible behavior. And he actually did a rape joke about a rape whistle. And I posted this written by a woman from the Hollywood Reporter. It was scathing. And there were, of course, a few people who, disagreed vehemently and that, everybody deserves a second chance and shit like that, which to me was missing the point. Like, I think people deserve a second chance, but first they have to do the right thing. I'm like, when the people really disagree with me, a Facebook fight is so counterproductive to life.
Yes. Whenever someone posts something negative to me, I used to just confront, and it just takes you down this weird tunnel. So I just tend to like things and move on. It's like, oh, thanks for replying to me, and then I just kind of move on.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So what do we do now, with this conversation as we're talking about the podcast? Like,
Yeah, well, this is kind of it, right? Like I'm just asking you basic stuff about what you're going through, and you're giving me answers. You know, you're giving me live feedback onto whatever, and then we just kind of see where this thing goes. And I think this is something you could do with your guests
And other
as
people
well.
call in? Can other people call in live?
Right.
Well, I think even if they're crazy, it's funny. You know what I mean? In terms of, like, you know, my podcast, like me dealing with lunatics and Steve might be funny, you know.
We try it out, man. I mean, see what works. We only have an hour, and seeing how many people call in an hour isn't going to be that much.
Yeah.
And if you miss somebody,
So,
they can always leave a message.
I'm trying to think of. Yeah, we were talking about make the crux of it or the thrust of it be like therapeutic, right?
Right.
So maybe talk about like vacations, like it all doesn't have to be heavy about the downfall of society, you know. As I was scolded already today on Twitter and Facebook, but one guy said when I said how come I don't know if you saw it, but I posted on Twitter, how come comedians don't address you know, all that stuff about poverty, and one of the guys said, I prefer my comedians to be funny. And that's like the average idiot, you know what I mean? Like, and it is hard for comedians to be funny talking about serious issues. Not many did it well. Carlin, Hicks, I don't know.
I mean, if Carlin was alive today,
yeah,
all of his comments would be, "Hey, buddy, tell more jokes." That would be it.
Yeah. You see, what happens is you can't let the mob win. I was thinking about that. You really have to stick to your guns. But then I think about performing at the Comedy Store tonight, and it's so hard to do when you're in front of the mob. And, you know, I get a little scared. I don't want to be, you know, I don't know. I don't want to be up there not getting laughs, but I think the guys like Hicks didn't give a shit. Stanhope is like that a little too. He doesn't care if people walk out of the room, and I've never been like that. I always want to be liked, and I think that defeats this like kind of revolutionary tone that I take. I remember Patton saying, no, comedian's first job is to be funny. Like he was like ripping on some people who were just quote unquote activist comics. And he was saying, look, our first job is to be funny. And I get that too. I totally get that.
Well, you look at how Patton delivers his political jokes and his structure. And his structure isn't...
Yeah, he's a great writer. He's a great writer.
He's not talking... He doesn't talk directly about, like, Trump or Bush or whatever. He talks about the stupidity of doing material about Trump or Bush. Because they're so terrible, I can't tell a joke about them, right? Because Trump looks like a biomorphic fart. There's no real, what can I add to that, right? There's no, because he's an idiot, I can't. And that's where he takes it. And if you look at like, comments about when he did the river walk in Little Rock, how did he do? And people were like, well, Eddie did a great show. He didn't bring up like incest and hillbillies, and he didn't talk about the Clintons. That's all they cared about, right? Because that's that audience. You could talk about whatever you wanted after that. As soon as they realized you weren't going to hit those spots, they're like, talk about whatever you want. And I think Patton does the same kind of thing. Is they're like, okay, he's going to hit politics. He's not hitting it directly. He's decide what his problems are or what his observations are.
Right. I do that too. I think I instinctually do that. I know to be self-deprecating. And talk about my flaws and then talk about the flaws, you know, in the society, you know, because if you come off as a high status douchebag, people don't like that. That is very true. That is very true. But what about other topics like, it might be funny to go, I go to the ocean, let's say, but sometimes I get very scared of the immensity of the ocean. Like talk about, you know what I mean? Like talk about the on vacation, you can have panic attacks, like, or vacations are where you really discover that you're insane.
I live near the ocean, which is so nice and soothing because you're right there. But at the same time, I open up my window and there's always some meth head just screaming the most vile shit.
That's a great point.
At the ocean, and I'm like, That's what I wanted to do, asshole. But now I can't do it because you're doing it. You kind of like stole my thunder. But is it like, should I be angry because now they're getting it all out?
Well, yeah, that's right. That's what you talked about. That's a great way to also get in social commentary. Like I was in a park in San Francisco checking out the green parrots that are all over San Francisco, and there were a ton of them in this park, and I was sitting there really digging it, and then a scary fucking homeless guy, big dude, just scary, and he was angry, and I just was like, well, enough of the parrot. Let me, move on. And it's like, where do you get peace? You know what I mean? If you don't have, if you're not rich, the rich can, be on a secluded island, Is there any place to get peace? Are vacations a myth? Like, talk about the whole thing.
There's that thing of going to a nice island for vacation, and you're in the resort and everything's great, and you take 2 steps outside of the resort, and it's all like Mad Max. And like,
oh yeah, that's true too. That like a resort, like if you go to Brazil or I don't know Mexico, like outside the resort is just dire poverty. Yeah, it's like the green zone in Iraq. Or my veterinarian said he went to South Africa and he had to be escorted everywhere. And at night you cannot walk in South Africa or Johannesburg alone, or without like armed guard. People will kill you, on your vacation. And that is a bad vacation. When you get killed on your vacation, that is a horrible vacation.
Well, hopefully whoever kills you will take your phone and still do your Instagram.
Do you remember when I think it was a terrorist group? I don't know if it was ISIS, probably. They burst into a hotel in Africa and just killed all these British tourists. And that, the hotel does not, that would be a horrible advertisement. Like, we have, not only do we have the finest mattresses, but we have break-ins by terrorist groups,
Ooh, honey, ISIS.
Honey, ISIS, yeah. Also another topic that might be good. Another topic that might be good is the pressure to feel happy. Like there's a pressure to be happy. You know what I mean? It's almost like a crushing pressure. Like if you're not happy, you're not cool. You know what I mean? I think the pressure to be happy is one of the absurd conclusions of a consumeristic society. Like, because everything is made to be consumed. Everything is made to make you feel happy. And it's so disappointing because these things really don't. Like things really don't make you happy. And then what you have is a tremendous burgeoning self-help industry. Like, then you could deal with all the charlatans, in the self-help industry because people realize nothing has made them happy. You know what I mean?
No. External things can't really make you happy.
External things, yeah. And people can't believe that. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're like, holy shit. And that's what the whole society is based on. Like, get a new car, get this, get that, buy this, eat that. And I'm a victim of it too. I mean, I'm particularly addicted to food,
Oh, dude.
Food.
You and I both stress you.
Sugar and sports. Like my thing is like sports,
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh, if the Yankees win tonight, that validates my life. I don't know. It's weird because then other people point out, hey, listen, you could relax to a baseball game. What's wrong with that? You know what I mean?
We're making changes to the show format and how we do pep talks. If you like it, if you hate it, whatever, you can always call us and leave a message, 424-262-0904, or hit up Eddie Pepitone's fan page on Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. We've got new things coming with the Pep Talks format, more guests, taking your calls live on air. There's a bunch of new stuff coming up. Thanks for listening.